My name's Jeff Makarevich, and welcome to Wine and Dine with Jeff, where I'll make a healthy dinner from start to finish and pair it with wines from around the world. Let's fill up that glass. Hi, I'm Jeff Makarevich, and welcome to Wine and Dine with Jeff. Today we're doing a Game of Thrones series finale feast. I am so excited. It is a wild boar stew. You are gonna love it, and it is completely inspired by the Game of Thrones. I could just imagine sitting around Winterfell with Jon Snow and Sansa around the table eating this wild boar stew. Let's get started. I have 2.5 pounds of wild boar right in here, and it's important too, if you're cutting it up yourself, good tip is you got to go against the grain because it will get chewy if you don't go against the grain. And what's also important, I have this bottle of Chianti that I'm going to pour in. It's just going to flavor up this wild boar, and it's going to tenderize it a little bit from the acidity of the actual bottle itself. And then we're just going to put it in the fridge overnight, just overnight, not any longer than that. So I have a fresh rosemary twig, a few peppercorns I'm going to put in. So a few peppercorns are going right on in. And then let's throw this bottle of Chianti in here. We're just going to put it into, and the most important thing, and look, I started pouring first. You always got to try the wine first. Oh, very good, very good. I'm glad. Okay, you just want to get it so it is covering the meat itself. So perfect, it's covering. That will tenderize it, just infuse all those flavors. So in the fridge, plastic wrap in the fridge overnight. And who do you want to sit on the Iron Throne? Do you want it to be Jon Snow? Do you want it to be Sansa, the Lady of Winterfell? Or do you want it to be Cersei? Or the Dragon Queen? Put it in your comments down below. We just pulled our wild boar out of the refrigerator where it was overnight soaking in that Chianti. Ooh, and it smells so good. And really important tip, we patted dry, took off all that Chianti right now, and we took a paper towel and took off all the liquid. And right now I'm just putting some salt, basic salt and pepper on the wild boar. And why we wanted to make sure to take off all that Chianti liquid is that we want to get a good sear and caramelization on these, right? So to get that, you got to take off all that liquid. So that is done. And let me tell you, the Chianti smells so good. It put a really nice scent on the actual wild boar itself. So I'm going to take in batches. I love to use my hand. Here we go, right on in. And we are doing batches, or else, why? You're not going to get a sear on it, right? So we're going to probably do about 3 different batches. So we're not going to overcrowd the pan. That is it. That is it. Done. Now we're going to let that go caramelize on one side, flip it over, and we're going to do the rest of these in batches. And then we're going to start on our mirepoix veggies that go in here. We just finished browning off our wild boar, putting that aside, and let's start with our veggies right into the same pan. There we go. The pan is already screaming hot still. We have 2 medium onions. We have 2 stalks of celery. This is all going in right now. I'm going to just save that carrot there for a skinny minute. And this we just want to sweat out, get some color on the onions and everything. And we have garlic cloves. And all the exact ingredients are right down below in the description center for you. Let's get this around. Stir this around some. And we want to add it right to that same pot, don't forget. And let's add some salt and pepper to this. This will actually, the salt will extract some of the liquid that is in the actual onions itself. And it'll bring it out. And now is a good time for you to scrape the bottom of the pan where all those good pieces of wild boar are still stuck. Look at that. Woo! My goodness. It already smells so good in here. You guys are gonna love this. I hope that you do this wild boar stew. It is amazing, amazing. So we're just gonna let that sweat out a little bit. But I do want to tell you what I'm pairing with it. And I am pairing this awesome Barolo. It is a Tuscan Wild Boar Stew, right? So this beautiful Barolo from Italy in the Piedmont region will just go perfectly with this hearty Wild Boar Stew. It's a 2004, and it just packs a lot of punch. And it's bold, and it will just stand up to all those wonderful flavors already that we have marinated in the actual wild boar. So we'll let that cook out a little bit, and we'll start adding a few more things. Okay, now this is browned up some, and we have sweated out, so we're going to add some pine nuts. Oh yeah, loving the pine nut addition, because we're adding the rosemary, and they're sort of like a team together. And carrots. Carrots are right on in. Oh, ooh, this smells really, really, really good. Okay, now to the mix. Tomato paste. Right on in. Stir that around so the tomato paste just gets well blended with everything else, because that is going to be our thickener when we add the rest here. Okay, so this is perfect. Now we'll just let that go for a minute. And now what we're going to be adding in next, we have fresh rosemary, we have fresh sage. Oh, and that just pairs up with the pine nuts so much. And then we're going to be adding in our meat back in, and then we're going to be adding in more Chianti wine and stock. So that looks like it is ready to go. So let's first add in our meat, our wild boar, back in with all of its juices. Now we're going to add in the fresh rosemary, fresh sage, and then let's go. What's great with this, what did it marinate in? Chianti. So we're going to add in about 2 cups of Chianti right into it. Okay. And you see it's already thickening up from when we had in the tomato paste. So you don't need to add in flour or anything like that. So about 2 cups. That was 2 cups to 2.5 cups. And then now we're just going to top it off with some chicken stock. Okay, we don't want to go over the meat. We just want it to come about the same height of the meat. So maybe a cup of chicken stock. Judge, it all depends if you're doing a little more or a little less. That looks about perfect to me, right at the same height of the meat. Now, this is in a Dutch oven. This is important. These are very important tips I'm giving you right now. We want a very good seal on this. And this is going in the oven at 300 degrees, going very low and slow. Remember, this wild boar is almost like a pork shoulder. So you don't want to cook it fast. It will tighten up and be chewy. So at 300 degrees, check it in 3 hours, but it could go to 4 hours. It all depends on the consistency you want it. At 4 hours, it could be at that shredding point, how pork shreds, and very super tender. But if you want more of a little chew to your wild boar, you could take it out in 3 hours. You judge for yourself. So we'll pop that in the oven and we'll let that go low and slow. I can't wait to taste it. Our Tuscan Wild Boar Stew is done and I can't wait to dig in. But I first want to thank all my subscribers. And if you're not yet a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know what I'm making next week, right? Oh my gosh, I am so ready for the finale of Game of Thrones. And this is the party dish I am making. And everybody is gonna love this, guaranteed. I'm gonna get a little bit of everything on here. OMG. Shut the front door. I am not kidding. Amazing. One of the best things I've done in a long time. And I only had it in for 3 hours because I like a little bit of the consistency in the chew instead of falling apart completely. So 3 hours at 300. It is amazing. And don't forget to pair it with this Camparo Barolo, this 2004. Thank you so much for stopping by Wine and Dine, and we'll see you next week.